Good morning, everyone. Welcome to September. This is the Futures in 5 here at thetradingbook.com. We're taking a look at September. Let's jump right into these edges. You know, we've got a lot of negative chatter coming out after the best August we've had in years. Now we're looking at September as traditionally one of the worst months of the year, and all that negative chatter gives people a space where they have to make considerations about what they're going to do. And for me, it's always a matter of where's my support, where's my resistance. I can see I've been traveling really all of last week right here around 28.97. This is where we are sitting this morning, and it is a natural bounce zone. So we'll see how the chart does in this space. My suspicion is with all the negative chatter, we bounce into a resistance zone and sort of give back some of this space. A lot of our monthly and weekly support levels are well below. So as you take a look at this, notice what's happening. It's very congested. You want to use your edges, and this is what we are going to look at across the board. Taking longs on these edges, you'll know quickly if you're wrong, and you'll be able to turn around and move in the right direction. If you decide you're going to take a long down here where everyone else has been buying, if you decide you want to take a short, how about allowing the chart to bounce into some measure of resistance where you saw selling pick up before you move, and that's about 29.02. So that's what we're looking at right there for today. NQ looks really the same way. We have higher support action. It's still holding in this region. We have lower highs, very congested. 76.36 is a big area that we ought to see some measure of bounce. Doesn't mean we won't break it, folks. It means that once we get there, we're likely to run into buyers at the first pass. This is not the kind of environment you short the low on without exposing yourself to quite a bit of risk. So you want to be careful with that. Upper edges, once it gets up over 76.64 or so, it's going to carry a little bit more buying power, but underneath that area, it's going to look like resistance. So if you want to short, that's going to be the likely bounce event that you look for in the NQ today. Overall, there's a lot going on in the market. The most sensitive of the indices that I see is the YM. Now, I've talked about this YM a lot. I talked about this being a very thin volume area, that it had a big likelihood of retrace, and I was talking about it way up here when it didn't seem possible, but we do fill in these pockets, and so you have to look for that. As we fill in the pocket, we're going to see a bounce. Now, I took this picture probably an hour ago, and the chart has come in to this 865 area, and it has begun the bounce up over the region. What's going to happen? Well, it is congested, and so we're going to look for either sellers to show up around 25,950 or around 26,000. 26,000 is a big area. If we see the failure to breach above those zones, we'll know that we're trapped and we're likely to see lower edges. There is low volume below this region, and so we're going to look for somewhere in this area for a retrace. We could be building some sort of Gartley pattern here with a target down in this range anyway. So we'll see what goes on from that perspective. Last week, if you heard me at the Schwab for Traders event, I was sitting on a panel with Lee Bowl, and he said, hey, listen, let's take a look at this 7140 as a particular test, and it came right into that edge, and I really do like this area as resistance. Now, here's the problem. It's still holding 71 as support. So for now, because it's so bullish, we are going to be looking at pullbacks being buy zones, but this is a very pretty topping formation, and it comes into major congestion on a weekly composite chart. So you want to see that very likely to collapse under this major expansion here. It is pre-market, so you're going to watch for this to move downward. We do see hedge funds continuing to lighten their long exposure, but not putting on any shorts, and so they're still essentially bullish, but feel that they are at the top of this range for now. I'd be really careful about that. Lastly, with gold, another place I was talking about, hey, listen, I know it looks like it's recovering, but this is a relief bounce. When you have a relief bounce, you pull back into primary support before advancing. And this is exactly what we're doing. We're sitting in this primary support. Now take a look at how deep the fade is and how shallow the momentum is in the space. It tells us we could easily bounce in this area and move all the way back up into congestion. There's nothing aggressive about the undercurrent is just sort of drifted selling in the space. So I suspect they're going to try and test these regions around 1194 or so. That's it for the futures in 5. Good luck trading today.